In a world where sports have stretched beyond the fabric of reality and podcasts became as common as potholes, there were two guys in Morgantown, West Virginia who desired to do something different. These two guys came up with an idea to bring real life back to the arena of sports and hopefully be somewhat entertaining along the way. These two guys are certainly no experts, and they're definitely not comedians. They just think they are. This is the Extra Medium Podcast, and here are those two guys.
And here we go. Welcome, everyone, to Season 2, Episode 5 of the Extra Medium Sports Podcast. How did we come up with such an unusual name? It's just because we are just two plus-size guys living in an extra medium world. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am Justin Jackson, sports editor of the Dominion Post.
And I'm Matt Amory, former WVU lineman and state champion at Morgantown High.
A happy late New Year's to everyone. We truly hope everyone had a good holidays. We took a couple weeks off due to the holidays. But we are back.
We are back, baby.
And we
miss y'all.
We are right in the middle, Matt, if you didn't know this. We are right smack in the middle of transfer portal time.
It is. We got a great show.
Matt, I would like to pose a simple question to you.
Yes.
How many times have you ever heard or even thought to yourself that the transfer portal is killing college athletics?
Well, as of recently, a lot. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this and dive deep into it more. We got an awesome show.
Well, I've got a mission.
Okay,
today.
what's the mission?
I am going to lay down some knowledge, and we are going to change your perception and hopefully the perception of our listeners on what the transfer portal actually is.
No, and I need that because do you think you can do that?
Well, we're going to go in all the ins and outs.
Okay, good.
What the portal actually is, the transfer windows. We are going to have Spencer Ripchick of the Dominion Post in studio. He's going to help us out. He's going to help us deep dive into all of it. But first, Matt, if you would, tell the good people who our sponsor is.
I'd be glad to. The Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan, where you're interested in hosting a sophisticated corporate retreat, a joyful baby shower, or a spectacular wedding reception. Hotel Morgan provides a backdrop steeped in nearly a century of Morgantown's history. Reimagined with the boutique comfort and 1920s era charm, we take pride in making every event a memorable and stylish experience.
And we've been off a couple of weeks, so Matt, just tell the good people where you can find the podcast.
I would be happy to do that. You can always find a link to the Extra Medium Sports Podcast at www.dominionpost.com or find us on social media at Spotify and YouTube.
Before we get into the discussion with the transfer portal, we have to kind of reminisce on what the old days were.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the days back when you played.
Come on, man.
WVU, you were what, 2002 through?
2001 through 2005. There was a break. There was a little year-and-a-half break in between.
Okay, so 01 to 05. So that would be the old school days.
That's the old school.
Compared to what we have now in college athletics.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to try to make this brief but descriptive. You once told a story about how you wanted to transfer to Marshall.
Yes.
In your time, if you had gone through with that, the process that you would have had to go through would have been you would have had to go to Coach Rodriguez.
Yes.
And essentially get his permission.
Get his approval. If that doesn't go through, no approval, it's kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, it's kind of dead in the water.
But it's still not done.
You could have still challenged it to
could have still challenged it, and also it was Marshall and Slippery Rock.
Right.
And he said, Marshall's fine, Slippery Rock's okay, and then you kind of have a decision. But I decided against
that. That was the options that coaches had back in those days. Was they could either sort of deny or approve a kid transferring, and then they could place restrictions on where you could go, and they could list, they could say essentially, hey, you can't transfer to a team that's going to be on our schedule, you can't transfer to another team in our conference, so on and so forth.
In addition to, Justin, I think, so that was back the Big East era, the Big Beast. So if you transferred out of conference, you were sitting out a year. However, if you were transferring within the Big East, I do believe it was 2 years.
Okay. Well, essentially back
Big East to Big East.
Essentially back in those days, football players would have had to sit out a year regardless. Right.
Yes.
Which we're going to get into that in a second. But so then if you had gotten the approval, right? Now you got to go to the compliance office.
Yes.
You got to fill out all the paperwork. I'm Matt Amory. This is my academic standing. This is my academic records.
And let me interrupt one more second, because when you're in this too, you're not getting direct communication with Marshall, with that university.
Right.
I mean, it's not technically legal to even talk to them about that. So you're having to interpret all these things. I said, well, I mean, like if I transfer to Marshall and I come there on my own dollar, am I going to be on the team? And you're like, the coach will say, well, you can assume so. And they have to do so to protect themselves from the NCAA rules.
So you're in the compliance office at WVU. You're filling out all this paperwork, right? You know, your academic standing, how much eligibility you have left, so on and so forth. You take that paperwork down to, and you got to keep that paperwork with you back in the day.
Yes.
You take that down to Marshall, give it to their compliance office. They look over everything. Okay, everything looks fine. We do have a scholarship for you. So they've got to sign off on that. They've got to sign off on your, offering you the scholarship.
Yes.
So that's even more paperwork.
Yes.
You take that paperwork from Marshall, you bring it back to Morgantown, bring it back to the WVU compliance office, and now they've got to sign off on what Marshall signed off on. And then that paperwork would have got sent to the NCAA, and then, 99% of the time the NCAA just okayed transfers. Now, that's a lot of paperwork.
That's a lot of paperwork, and that's a lot of what ifs.
And it's a lot of going back and forth and having people. Here's what the transfer portal is. And the only reason why I know this is because I had to do a big feature on it a couple years ago, and I talked to some compliance people, and they had to explain it all to me in very much layman's terms, pretty much. What the transfer portal does is a computerized, streamlined version of that process that we just laid out.
Oh.
So the portal, what happens is instead of having that paperwork, you got to carry it around in your back pocket. You got to take it to the new school, bring it back to the old school. That's all the portal is. It allows It allows for all of that to be taken care of with a click of a mouse, rather than this guy signing, bring it back. That all can be done through the click of a mouse now on the computer.
So in addition to Slack rules.
Right.
So you're saying back in my day, all I would have had to do was go to the portal, enter my name, and put active.
Right. And then coaches would start calling you.
Got you.
And you could have decided on your new school. Of course, you probably go and visit the schools.
Yeah.
And then once you decided on a school, they could click a button, done, and then WVU would look at it. Yeah, click, looks good. Click it, done. That's it. That's all the transfer portal is. It's kind of like doing your taxes online now, right? It's so much easier as opposed to filling out all the forms and sending them in. That's basically what the transfer portal is.
But see, when you say transfer portal, I don't even think of this streamlined process, which is wonderful, by the way. I think of the millions and millions of dollars going around exchanging $10,000 to come for an official visit.
Well, here's what people, the college fans really should be mad at. What they're really mad at are the eligibility rules now. The instant eligibility rules for transferring. Right?
Yes.
That's what sort of opened the door to what we have now. It's not the transfer portal that they're mad. That's just the object of their frustration, but it's not really what the problem is with the rampant transferring that we have.
What's your thoughts on that? The instant eligibility.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because this kind of goes back to the old days, the old NCAA and the stupid rules that they used to have and the ignorant decisions that they made. So here's where the instant eligibility came from. Back in your day, like you talked about earlier, if you would have transferred to Marshall, you would have had to sit out a year.
Yes.
If a basketball player would transfer from one school to another, they would have to sit out a year. That men's, women's. If a baseball player would have transferred, they had to sit out a year. There were only like 8 sports in college. Well, I mean, let me get into the I understand the reasoning behind the NCAA for wanting athletes to sit out a year, and it's all because of academic reasonings, which makes sense. When you transfer from one school to another, you lose credits. Not all of your credit, and I talked about this one time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I talked about this one time with Emmett Matthews Jr., who WV fans may remember was a basketball player at WVU a few years ago, who started his career at WVU, then transferred to Washington, and then he transferred back to WVU for his senior year. But the year that he transferred to Washington, I talked to him about it one time. He said he lost a ton of credits, academic credits, when he transferred to Washington, because basically Washington just didn't accept all the classes that he had taken at West Virginia. So the year that he spent at Washington, much of that was spent retaking some of the classes that he had already taken.
Gotcha.
So basically, the NCAA's reasoning for making athletes sit out a year back in the day was to give them the opportunity to catch up academically.
Yes, and
which makes sense.
It makes sense
Yeah.
because you have to have a certain percentage toward your degree to be eligible. And I don't know if that's still the same.
Well, the terminology student athlete actually meant something
Yes,
back in those
yes,
days,
it
back
did.
when you were
It
in school.
did.
Obviously, it doesn't mean that much today. But here was the problem, and this is what the NCAA eventually ran into in court, and there's stupid decisions that they made over decades and decades of times until they eventually got challenged, which is what happened. There were only 8 sports back in the day where athletes had to sit out a year. Soccer was not among them, men's and women's soccer. Gymnastics, rowing, rifle, track, those athletes from the beginning of time, I guess, they could transfer to another school and be immediately eligible.
Gotcha.
So you see, you see what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, it's
Why do some athletes in some sports had to sit out a year when athletes in other sports didn't?
Yes.
If a soccer student transferred from one school to another, did he not lose academic credits?
That's a great point.
Right,
That's a great point. Is it about the mighty dollar?
Eventually, so basically, you were looking at football players had to sit out, hockey players had to sit out, baseball players, and men's and women's basketball players were the major sports that had to sit out a year when athletes decided to transfer, which obviously kind of curtailed the number of athletes that transferred back in the day because people didn't want to sit out.
Yeah, you don't want to sit out. You don't want to lose your eligibility.
Once the NCAA got challenged and taken to court, and and they lost because the NCAA essentially always loses in court. Then they had to say, okay, well, now everyone is immediately eligible when they transfer, and that's what opened the doors. It wasn't the transfer portal. It was the immediate eligibility rules that changed.
Gotcha.
Now guys can transfer from one school to the next and be immediately eligible as long as they're in good academic standing, obviously.
Gotcha.
But, so now if you were at WVU now, you wanted to transfer to Marshall, you would be eligible the minute you walked on campus.
And now, isn't there a rule also as well as if the coach leaves?
Well, that if the coach leaves, what happens is you have transfer portal windows, which we'll get into when we bring Spencer.
Okay,
on.
we'll get into that later. Okay.
But when a coach leaves, it basically extends the window for the athletes at that sport and that school. But so here's what we've got now. So now that the floodgates have opened, I got some numbers for you.
Okay, let's hear them.
I believe, and Spencer might double check me on this. I think the transfer portal window opened on January 2nd. January 2nd. So it's what, 4 days later? 3,700 football players entered the portal
3,700
on the first day. On the first day, it's up over 4,000 right now in the window. In basketball, on average, college men's basketball players, D1 guys, they get about 2,000, give or take. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. That transfer per year. Women's basketball players, a little bit less than that, roughly like 1,400, 1,500 players transfer on average per year. That's like 30 to 40% of college basketball players transfer per year. Then you throw in the guys who leave early for the NBA draft, and then you throw in the people who graduate, run out of eligibility. That's a lot of empty. That's how you get so many empty spots for 350 college basketball teams every year.
And how would you as your reward for being in the college football playoffs this late in the season, you got to deal with the transfer portal and scheming your team.
Oh, that's the other issue because look at what's going on in Mississippi right now.
I mean,
you've got Lane Kiffin who's basically trying to, I don't want to say recruit, but is trying to gauge the interest of his former players at Mississippi while they're still in the playoffs.
Yep.
So,
it's a mishmash.
Well, the thing of it is, it's not I guess the point I'm trying to make, it's not the transfer portal that you're mad at or that the college fans should be mad at. It's the rules. The transfer portal is just this, in between.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
And everyone's, throwing their brunt of the blame at it. Yeah.
You're exactly right.
They're mad at the middleman.
They're mad at the middleman.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful. Hey, point proven. Touche, my friend.
What kept you? I'm interested. What kept you from not transferring to Marshall?
What kept
back in the day?
What kept me from not transferring to Marshall, brother? It was just there was so many what ifs. I didn't even know. I had. It's not like West Virginia University or advisors are going to come and help you do this. Marshall's really not going to help you. I tried to get some help, and then it was just way too much, and I didn't have my head on straight, and I said I wanted to go and be with my buddies and hang out and be a normal college student. That was just a decision I made, and after doing that for about a year, I was like, I don't want to be a normal college student. I want to be back on the football field. But there was so many what ifs. It was so overwhelming. It's hard to keep your self-confidence, and you need that as a player. And at that point, I just thought, this is probably just it.
Would you have been able to handle all that paperwork back in the day?
I mean, I know I would have signed my name right. That's worth something on the SAT, isn't it? I think I would have been able to handle it, but it's just where I was at that time. It just was the fight worth it? I didn't know. There were so many questions. I was young. Had I had the knowledge I have now with life, I think it would have been much easier. But I was impatient, and it was too overwhelming and too much, and just enough's enough.
Did the thought of having to sit out a season come into play?
Absolutely, absolutely, it came into play. But not only the thought of sitting out a season, but if I go here and this doesn't work, it's done. Or once you start playing, your eligibility clock goes, even if you're sitting out.
Right.
Once you start it goes. So yeah, but it finally just and this is not how I would think today. This is kind of a negative outlook, but at that time there's just too much caving in. I didn't really know where to go, who to talk to, how to do this. At the time I had a great relationship with my father. He worked at the university. He works at West Virginia University. And so there were personal things mixed to stay.
Sure.
So is kind of embarrassing him and all that stuff. So it was like it was hard to get the help to get that paperwork and to get moving and to have so many unanswered questions. It was kind of like, I rather just.
Well, we went over the numbers here. Like 3,700 kids, college football players, transferred, entered the portal on the first day that it opened. It's well over 4,000 at this point. So here's my question. I guess this kind of goes back to my eligibility rules with the NCAA and how they just were wrong from the beginning. I understand the reason for wanting to make athletes sit out a year, and I think it makes sense. Why they didn't do it for all athletes
exactly
is the problem it was the issue that I had. I mean, either you do it for all of them or none of them.
And why is it?
That's essentially what it came down to. So I ask you this. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. I think even by today's transfer standards, I think athletes should have to sit out a year.
Across the board, all sports?
But it should be across the board, all sports. Now, obviously, once they got challenged in court because it wasn't across all sports, that's where they ran into trouble in the courts, so they had to open it up. Now everyone's eligible immediately. Your thoughts, though. Should athletes have that right to transfer and be immediately eligible, or is there still some type of academic level that needs to be understood in the transfer game?
My personal thoughts, I do think the athlete should sit out. I do think it should be the student athlete, but however, my thoughts really don't matter. It's like, what is the case now?
Sure it matters, Matt.
But I mean, what it is now, it's changing my thoughts by what we're seeing now with the transfer portal. And don't get it twisted. The NCAA is a money-making entity.
Right.
And it's no coincidence the revenue-generating sports were the ones that had the year that you had to sit out. But
If athletes had to sit out, would there have been 3,700 players transferring on the first day?
Absolutely not.
Right.
And some of these coaches have experiences too. For example, with Rich. Do you remember Scotty McBrien?
Oh, yeah, the Maryland guy.
The Maryland guy. But you remember he was at WVU prior.
And then he transferred to Maryland.
He transferred and just came over and smoked us in our home.
Right.
So how could you blame him? I'm not going to let another one of our guys come over and just, if you have that power. I say, and I stand by this, power to the players. I think the players should be getting paid. I think they should try to exploit this as much as possible.
Well, you can still get paid. If you transfer, you can still get paid. I mean, even if you sit out of here, you can still get paid. I mean, that's NIL.
No, but I mean back in the day.
Oh, you're talking back?
Yeah, versus back in the day.
Oh, you were wanting to get paid.
Well, no, no, but I'm saying now I'm for it. Pay the players. I'm not worried about it. It's a slippery slope, but the way it is now, power to the players. It's kind of a free-for-all. It's the wild, wild west, I feel like.
It is. All right, so that's our first segment with the have I got you thinking?
You got me thinking. You got the brain cells going a little bit.
A little better understanding of what the portal is. We're going to be talking with Spencer Ripchick here in just a little bit, taking a deeper dive into the portal. But first, Matt, one more time, tell us who our sponsor is.
Well, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. The Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Host your guests in an elegant setting utilizing our refined meeting spaces, including 2 dedicated boardrooms and state-of-the-art conference technology. Elevate your event with delicious catering and craft cocktail service delivered by our own cafe and bar, Anvil and Axe.
Our podcasts as of late have been packed with special guests and information, so we've had to kind of get away from what is our favorite segment. Ladies and gentlemen, it is back. We're going to take a break from the transfer portal conversation, and we are going to get into our favorite segment. It's called What Caught Matt's Eye.
Matt's eye, let us know what is caught Matt's eye.
Matt's eye, what caught Matt's eye? Oh, I've missed this. So, you want to know what caught Matt's eye?
Well,
we've had some.
I tell you, your singing hasn't gotten any better with the
I thought my singing
with the new year rolling in. But go ahead.
What caught Matt's eye? Rick Trickett. Welcome back to
Coach
West
Trickett.
Virginia University, Coach Trickett. Welcome back to West Virginia University as the offensive line coach. For our listeners out there that don't know, I had the pleasure to play with Rick Trickett. Rick Trickett offered me a scholarship to West Virginia when I was in Morgantown High. I'll be thankful to him to this day.
How did that work out? Did he come to your house or your school?
I just had, you know what? He had recruited us,
right?
He had recruited me, and recruiting Alex and
Lake, right?
Alex Lake and Mark Waggle. Mark had already committed to Duke, but he'd come and see us a couple times. Alex got offered way early. Alex got offered in the Nealon era. Nealon didn't offer me, which is, fine, whatever. Not that I still think about that.
Right. No. But, no animosity there, yeah.
One day, I keep getting these calls from Coach McNew, and I was like, because I had a couple other offers, San Diego State, Marshall, and a couple, some... I wanted WVU. That was the one I was waiting for. A couple, I had official visits lined up to Nebraska, but it wasn't like a solid offer. Had an offer from Northwestern, we offered you, but you can't commit because you're great. I was like, well, why'd you offer me? Anyway, one day,
they didn't know what they were getting into.
Yeah, they didn't know what they were getting into with that. Coach McNew kept calling me, and I was like, oh my gosh. He goes, wake up, we need you. And Trickett called me, or he goes, you need to call Trickett. You need to call in. And I called him, and I go, hey, Coach, it's Matthew. What's up? He goes, I want you to know we're going to give you full grant and aid. And I was like, is that a scholarship?
He
goes, well, what
I
do you
love your Rick Trickett impersonations. That's my favorite one.
That's my nice Rick Trickett impersonation. But and I do that out of love. I got nothing but love and respect. But let me give you some personal thoughts on this hire. Rick Trickett, 77 years young. How will this help the team? Toughness, grit, high IQ, experience, great recruiter. Just let me give you a couple examples. Great recruiter. Back in the day, even Urban Meyer was calling me. Don't get too excited. This is when he was at Bowling Green.
Okay, this is a young up-and-coming
Urban Meyer. He'd call before school and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. Rick Trickett blew his wheels off. I mean, Trickett could recruit.
Really?
Oh, my gosh, this guy could recruit.
What was the secret sauce?
I don't know what his I don't know, but I do know when you show up to camp day one, it's kind of a different guy.
Yeah, right.
But the guy can recruit, and I mean, having a great recruiter is not going to be a bad thing whatsoever. There's also a story I'd like to share. I think I'm really honored to share this. You say toughness. I've seen this in 4K, if you will. This was a practice. I was running with the big dogs. We have a play, Orange Roger. So I'm with like,
That's the name of the play?
Orange Roger.
Orange Roger.
So
okay.
We're at the line. We're running Orange Roger, which is option right. And when you option, you have to have a guy to option. Well, I decided to block the tight end in which we were supposed to option, and this happened in which you're never supposed to do. Trickett was not happy, and he got very upset, and we exchanged some pleasantries, and I gave Trickett the hardest push I could in my life.
Nice.
I gave him a push, and he squealed and just went. And he said, "It's about dang time, Amory. I've been trying to get this out of you for 5 years, Amory." And, I thought I was done. It was a horrible mistake. But he liked it. And it's just...
He's cut from a different cloth,
from a different cloth, man. I mean, the guy is a zone run coaching genius. To this day, I still take my zone steps. I know my first step in hat placement. I also have another story, just teaching pass protection.
Mm-hmm.
Pass protection is very, very difficult. I was out there, hey, I can run, lift.
Well, there's actually technique.
There's technique, but
run blocking is just hitting someone, right?
Well, it's more than that. It's that first step. Hey, if you get that first step in hat placement, but I can show you some drills after the show. But
absolutely.
Just here's an example. Pass protection, I was really struggling, and when you're struggling in pass protection, obviously you're gonna get your quarterback hit, but you look slow, you look dumb, and when you look dumb, you make the coaches look dumb. You don't want, and he sure doesn't want that. And I was playing guard. This is when I had just come back, and Trickett goes, "Amory, you better have your butt ready." And I heard this from the sideline. So I'm like, something's coming here. The ball is snapped, and it's a tight end. It's a defensive end, defensive tackle twist. So both these guys are twisting. You don't want to. It's almost a bait. They want you.
It's not a stunt, right?
Well, the linebacker's stunt.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So the D tackle and defensive end twist, both going away from my gaps. And I'm like, don't bite. Trickett is yelling for you to watch, or something's coming. Next thing I know, I have my buddy Bobby Hathaway just hit me right in the ear hole. Now, I stopped the blitz, may have lost a few brain cells, but within that moment, the man taught me patience. Don't just jump at the first guy. And it worked. That to me was brilliant. That's good coaching. He knows how to coach each individual as they need it. And ultimately, I mean, it's tough, especially at a young age. But I can say the man wants the best for you. He wants to get the best out of you. Let me rephrase it. He wants to get the best out of you. And hire by Rich. And
it sounds like, I know you've talked about many of your memories of W. It sounds like Coach Trickett during your time had the biggest impact on you. Is that fair to say? Or
he did. He had the biggest impact. I wish, heck, maybe I can even talk to him sometime today. But I think about it because I did leave the team, and I mean, if I were to be cut, I think I would bleed blue and gold. But he also let me come back, and he humbled me, and he tried to help me, but I just wasn't where I needed to be. I take full responsibility.
But does he know that you guys impersonate him? Do you think he's aware of?
I think he's fully aware, and I don't think he cares.
Did other guys do it too?
My gosh,
with the high pitched voice.
Yeah, the best was Dan Moses.
Okay.
Dan Moses had the best Trickett impression. But, I mean, there's amazing stories. And, this one, it sounds like I've come out on top, and that's not the case. There's been many a times where he's come out on top.
Right.
Just the funny things, the memories I have just with him. One time we're in the meeting room. It's like, it's 5 a.m., and we're all like, oh, my gosh.
What are you meeting at 5 a.m. about?
we did something he didn't like, and he said, we're going to keep you here till dark 30 tonight. So we stayed at practice till dark 30, and we got to get up at 5 a.m. But
did you get breakfast?
They did hook us up with some breakfast.
Yeah, okay.
They did hook us up with some breakfast.
All right, okay.
But just in that meeting room, I remember, and these are the memories I have. I mean, it's wonderful. But we're sitting in the room, and Jeremy Sheffy's there, and he acts like he sneezes and just has bottled water and flicks it at Trigger. Trigger, what in the heck is that, man? Come on, that like just give it back. And like we did have fun. I do remember that after the Sugar Bowl, he goes, "Y'all want to see me party? You better win this game." And he would tell us like going into that.
Could you picture Rick Trickett partying?
I would love to have a beer with that man.
Yeah,
I would love to have a couple beers with that man. And he would always tell us coming into that Sugar Bowl, we had a couple, we kept winning, and each game, he said, y'all think you like those bowl gifts from those small bowls? Wait till you see those BCS bowl gifts. And I mean, he has the resume. It's an adventure. It's an adventure, and I think a wonderful hire.
I love it. I got a suggestion. We should just make the Matt's Eye segment about Coach
Trick.
every week now.
I have stories. I've shed many tears, sweat, blood, and many tears in that locker room. And I can say, although my football career didn't go as I anticipated, not even close.
Right.
I mean, but from a life perspective, that man is still in my head from a get your butt up and make work, Amory. There's no work, make work. So
I'm so glad we did this segment now this week. This is good. I love it. Hey, it is now time to bring in. That was Matt's Eye, everyone.
Hey, Matt's Eye.
Yes. It's now time to bring in Spencer Ripchick of the Dominion Post as we get back into our discussion of the different angles, the ins and outs, the center around the transfer portal. Spencer, WVU head football coach Rich Rodriguez, no stranger to the ins and outs of the portal, especially after, he signed, 70, 80 guys for his first season. Now he's losing some potential first-team guys for next season going into the transfer portal. Obviously names like Jaheim White. Cam Vaughn is the one who kind of surprised me since he was a player who came from Jacksonville State to WVU. Was he a surprise to you?
Yeah, I think he was a surprise for everybody. In 3 days before he even announced that he was going to transfer or that he was entering the portal, he said he was going to be a Mountaineer for life. I don't know if he's entering the portal trying to renegotiate a contract or an NIL deal with West Virginia, which could be the case.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Right?
Yeah, so he could come right back. But yeah, he was an interesting one because, like you said, he was with Rich at Jacksonville State. It was actually before when he came to Jacksonville State, he was a quarterback, and Rich was the one who actually turned him into a wide receiver, which is how his career kind of took off. And he had a great season last year with the carousel of quarterbacks for West Virginia. But yeah, he was a surprising one, and Jaheim White was a little bit of a surprising one too. I mean, not so surprising if you really look at the circumstances. I mean, Neil Brown, his former head coach, got a new head coaching job at North Texas, so wanted to go there. And his running backs coach also left for Auburn, so didn't really have much here other than Rich, and that was pretty much it because Rich, they don't have an offensive coordinator. So it wasn't too big of a surprise. But then you look at the other running backs, Dior Hubbard and Sincere Bowers. You thought both of them were going to be impact players, but like I said again, their running backs coach left, and Rich didn't recruit either of them. They were both on staff when he got here, or they're both on the roster when he got here. So I mean, those ones are kind of interesting, and then like you said, and then that's pretty much it. The running backs, the wide receivers, some of the defensive players, the young guys were also interesting. But like most of these guys who are leaving were Neil Brown's guys, so it's kind of fully reset now. Now all these guys are pretty much Rich Rod guys.
I want to go back to Cam Vaughn real quick because Matt, Cam Vaughn is a guy I kind of liked since day one.
Absolutely,
right? Since that Robert Morris game
Absolutely.
at the beginning of the year. If you had to put money on it, Spence, do you have any kind of inkling? It's kind of interesting what you said. He might just be looking for a better deal. That deal could come from West Virginia. Do you think there's still what would you lay the odds at? 50-50, 70-30 that Cam Vaughn is back at WVU next year?
Honestly, I haven't really heard too much about Cam since he's entered the portal. I haven't really heard anything about him going on visits or anything.
That's a good sign, right?
Yeah, so I don't know. I would say it's probably – I think there's still a high chance that he goes somewhere else. I just thought it was weird just because that was one of Rich's guys, and he always spoke highly of him. I mean, Cam did have issues, like not off the field, but on the field. That one interception that got thrown against Texas Tech where he just kind of kept on running. I noticed that, and then somebody on Twitter found that clip and put it out there. But, I mean, that's kind of what you want in a wide receiver one. I know it's not what Rich wants for any of his players, but you want a wide receiver one that has an ego and is not afraid to throw.
All receivers have egos.
They all have egos. The only egos worse than that are the DBs. We won't even talk about
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I mean, you need to kind of have an ego like that to be a top wide receiver. So, yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a bit odd. But, yeah, I think he probably will transfer out. I don't know where he would go. I mean, there's a lot of wide receivers in the portal. There's a lot of great players. Like you said earlier, there's like 4,000 kids in the portal. There's a lot. He's a bit farther down the list in regards to top-rated wide receivers, so it should be interesting to see where he ends up.
Yeah, he's not one of those top 20. You know, that's the thing that kills me about the – so, you obviously have your high school recruiting rankings, right?
Yeah.
This kid's a 5-star.
Yeah.
This kid's a 4-star. This kid's ranked, 5th in Pennsylvania. This kid's ranked, 12th in Texas. And that kind of stuff's been around for a long time. They now have transfer portal rankings,
I know.
right?
It's like the subcategory.
This guy's the number one transfer.
Number one
transfer. Number 6 transfer, yeah.
Hey, back to that Cam Vaughn thing. I know Coach Rod, he'll have meetings with each player at the end of the season. This is pure speculation. But I wonder if maybe there are two things Rich doesn't like. One is an MA, which is a missed assignment, but it happens. And the second one is a loaf. You don't want to have a loaf on there. You're going to be doing up-downs for life. And maybe maybe there were some loafs in there, and he said, hey, man, you want to continue to play here, you better. And that could have rubbed him the wrong way, or maybe he just wants more money, but I don't know.
Is that a question?
I don't know. No, I just kind of throwing that out there for a.
I got okay.
Perhaps that could have been a reason to push him in the portal. He said, "I want to be a Mountaineer for life." Then has a meeting with Coach Rod. Coach Rod says, "I don't want you loafing on this," and it's pure speculation.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'll show you loaf. It
could happen.
Go in the transfer portal.
There's a deeper dive here now, and this is kind of a Big 12 thing here. So, Spence, as you remember, probably go back to like last August, before the season begins, Big 12 media days, all this. It was supposed to be the year of the quarterback, right, in the Big 12. You had, Sorsby at Cincinnati. You had Sam Leavitt at Arizona State. Baron Morton at Texas Tech. I mean, all these guys all these great quarterbacks who were going to propel the Big 12 into the, to the higher echelon. They've all they're all in the portal now, right? I mean, kind of take me through that. You got Sorsby, right, who just transferred from Cincinnati, just committed to Texas Tech. Josh Hoover at TCU had a pretty good year for the kind of, wasn't the most successful season. He's in Indiana. Yeah. He's going to be at Indiana. What happened with all these Big 12 quarterbacks? Or did they just decide, to go something? Did it end up being the year of the quarterback? Are these guys overrated, underrated? I mean, what happened with all these Big 12 quarterbacks?
Well, I think the thing is, when you look at it, all the Big 12 quarterbacks, they all play pretty decently here and there, but they all also, like, if you look at like any ratings right now, all the Big 12 quarterbacks are the top quarterbacks in the portal. Like DJ Lagway, who's in there, who's a Florida quarterback, he was one of the better quarterbacks. Supposed to be going into the year, and he was a very highly recruited quarterback out of high school, and he's like down below those Big 12 quarterbacks. So the Big 12 quarterbacks are like highly rated, and they're very coveted. I think it might be just because the way the Big 12 is played is very down the field and heavy pass, and I mean so is the SEC, but the Big 12 schools had better seasons. There's also a lot of coaching turnover in the Big 12. I mean, Iowa State's coach was gone. Oklahoma State's coach is gone. Utah coach is gone. So there's a lot of turnover in that and a lot of movement with that, too.
Matt Campbell took Rocco with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Rocco Beck, Anthony Beck's kid, WVU tie.
Yep.
He's at Penn State now.
Yeah, so I think that when you look at all those quarterbacks, I think they had good seasons in the Big 12.
Did they?
Well, I mean, they had good or better seasons than some of the quarterbacks who are coming back in the SEC and the Big Ten. I mean, Julian Sands not going to leave anywhere. I mean, even like Bryce Underwood was thinking about going to the portal. He had to renegotiate his contract at Michigan. He just announced he's staying at Michigan. But then the SEC quarterbacks who were supposed to be really good weren't really good. I mean, like I said, Arch Manning is not going to really go anywhere. You're not going to pay a fortune for him. He was all right. Then Garrett Nussmeier, he was kind of a bust this year, and DJ Lagway wasn't that great. And Trinidad Chambliss, he was going to enter the portal, and he didn't end up coming out. He negotiated another deal, tried to get another year of eligibility. And then all the quarterbacks in the Big Ten, I mean, there wasn't too many great teams. You had Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State, and their quarterbacks.
Well, the Dante Moore kid is pushing up the draft boards.
Yeah, exactly.
At Oregon.
And he's.
But I don't know.
And then the Indiana kid, he's going to go to the draft, and then Ohio State.
Mendoza won. Yeah, he won the Heisman.
Sane's not going anywhere. He's going to get paid a bunch of money at Ohio State. And I already mentioned Michigan. So, yeah, I think the only quarterbacks that are going to move are the Big 12 ones. So a lot of them have moved, and there will be a lot of change next year.
The only SEC quarterback that might have had what you would call a good year might be your guy down at Vanderbilt.
Oh yeah, Pavia.
You introduced. I didn't know. I had no idea who that guy was.
Yeah, Pavia. I think what did Sellers do?
He's not going to get drafted either, probably. But he had a hell of a year.
Yeah, he had one heck of a year. Spence, let me ask you this: with the Big 12, and just from the way things look this year, it's kind of scaring me. It looks like just from this year, just taking the data, like the Big 12 is like a minor league, or get established here. Come to the Big 12, get established, then get your bag and get out. Like, do you think that's...
I was just going to say that it kind of is like a minor league.
They're the Pittsburgh Pirates of the college football world.
Because most of those, the Big 12 schools, Texas Tech obviously has the money, but most of those Big 12 schools can't compete with the major schools in the SEC or the Big 10. So they're kind of, and they're also in that position where they spend a lot of money on basketball too, so they kind of have to divvy up their funds. But yeah, the Big 12 doesn't have the only quarterback who's really going to move back into the Big 12 is Sorbsby, but he's going to Texas Tech, who's got more money than anybody.
Yeah.
So all those other Big 12 quarterbacks are like Hoover's going to Indiana, that's Big 10. Rocco's going to the Big 10. Sam Levitt's probably going to go to LSU or somewhere in the SEC. So they're all moving out of the Big 12 conference.
As a Penn State guy, Spence, now you're a Penn State guy, and you covered the Big 12. You've seen Rocco Becht. You like him? You like him as your quarterback at Penn State next year?
Well, I think he's a proven winner. I think that's something that Penn State needs. I don't know how he's going to translate to the Big Ten. I think you should be just fine. He's played in really big games. He played in the Big 12 championship game 2 years ago against Arizona State. So if as long as they just put the weapons and stuff around him, I think it was the only sad thing. I think it's going to take sad thing for Penn State and Matt Campbell. It might take a year to get adjusted, and Rocco's only got 1 year left. But so that kind of stinks for Rocco to have to make a change in this final year. He could have just rode out with Iowa State and just done that. But it's good to give Rocco a shot on a bigger stage because Iowa State was it's not as big as football school. It was only a big football school because Matt Campbell was there. So I think if you surround him with the right pieces, he should be all right.
Two questions I'm thinking of now with the portal, and I'm glad you mentioned Texas Tech. But number one, so all these guys are leaving. Who the heck is staying in the Big 12? You got Scotty Fox. Right? Scotty Fox is Scotty Fox your most experienced quarterback in the Big 12 next year? You got him and the kid at K-State, right? Who else is out there?
I think Baylor's quarterback, should be back. I'm trying to remember who's going to run out of eligibility.
And you got to run 16 teams through your.
Yeah. You got to figure out who's. I don't know. Does Kansas quarterback still have eligibility? He's been around.
Jalen Daniels. I don't think
he's been around.
He's been there forever.
He's 48 years old.
He's been around for a while. Yeah, Scotty's like one of the only quarterbacks who's coming back, and now it doesn't even look like. It looks like he might not be back next year. He's going to be back on the roster, but he might have his job taken with the recent moves that Rich Rod has made.
The other question I have, and then we're going to get into some of these WVU moves, but the other question I had, and you mentioned Texas Tech. So they went out and spent all this money this year on the NIL. And Spencer and I were kind of talking this morning. You know, everyone kind of just assumes that they bought a brand new football team this year, which they sort of didn't. Baron Morton has been at Texas Tech for like 20 years, it seems like. He's been there since the beginning, since they ran the, the air raid offense.
Yeah.
And when he was a freshman at Texas Tech, he was running the air raid. So Baron Morton, the quarterback's been there for a while. Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker who got Heisman consideration, has been at Texas Tech forever. So now, did they go out and get some key pieces around him? The defensive end, the Bailey kid, obviously very highly rated. Maybe a couple linemen, a couple receivers. Yeah, sure. But they didn't go out and get a brand new football team, so to speak. They had pieces in place. But the money they spent, they obviously dominated the Big 12. They got into the national playoff and had no business being on the field with Oregon, by the way it played out. So I guess what my ultimate question is, Texas Tech is that a good investment? Are they doing things the right way, or is this misplaced money, in your opinion?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think first, I think you spend a lot of money and you make a Big 12 championship, you're going to be making money back anyways. You won the Big 12. And I think part of it is also that Texas Tech had the bye, and I know it's kind of like a weird thing, but like most of the teams that bye haven't played well in recent years. I mean, the only team who won with the bye is Indiana.
Indiana, right?
Yeah, that's the only team. So that they had that going against them, and then Oregon has also they were in the playoff last year. I know they got rolled, but they were in the playoff last year. They kind of know what to expect, and they also didn't have a bye, so they weren't as new to the playoff as Texas Tech. And I also think the other thing is maybe this shows the caliber of how good the Big 12 was this year, and it really wasn't that good. And then you go into the playoff, and Ohio State, who is into the playoff, who was the third, or not Ohio State, Oregon, who was the third best team in the Big 10 at that point, destroys the team who was the best in the Big 12. So maybe that kind of says the competition in the Big 12 and the caliber of the Big 12 this year.
The other problem with Texas Tech, and I agree with everything you just said, they didn't play anyone in the non-conference either. Other than, their strength of the schedule came from the Big 12.
Yeah, their biggest two games was against BYU,
right,
who they played twice, and they beat them twice, and then Utah. And then their only loss was Arizona State, and that's when they didn't have Morton. So it was kind of hard to tell. And then all of a sudden, then you play West Virginia in your final game before you have like a week off. Then you play the Big 12 championship game, and then you wait a couple weeks, and then you got to play Oregon, who just came off a big win in their first round.
All right, so we're sticking with Texas Tech, right? It's essentially, if you're going to spend that money, it comes down to evaluation. Anyone can spend money. You got to spend money on the right guys.
Oh yeah,
and that's essentially what the transfer portal offers you, is that if you can evaluate and make the right decisions, spend your money the right way, you can improve pretty quickly.
And same goes for the other side, though. If you make a mistake, you're going to tank. It's going to sink you.
You see how many. Rich Rod brought in 70 transfers, and I could probably give you like 5 that were really good transfers. And then I think Indiana.
That's not a good percentage.
No,
right?
That's not.
I think Indiana. What Indiana does a great job, and Kurt Cignetti does a great job. He knows what transfers are going to be good, because all of his transfers over the past couple of years have been big hits. He's hit on the quarterback probably the past 2 years. Curtis O'Rourke was pretty good the year before, and then Fernando Mendoza just won the Heisman. So, and he could have had his pick at a lot of different quarterbacks, but he chose him.
So we've talked about possibly Cam Vaughn leaving. Jaheim White is transferring. The running backs room is depleted. The wide receivers room is depleted. That's the one side of West Virginia's portal. There is another side. Spence, we've got guys coming in, right? You got the kid from the receiver from USC. You got the brothers from Alabama, the brothers from Wisconsin. Fill us in on that side of the transfer portal story.
Yeah, so I think it's 7 transfer additions now that they've had. So they have the two Hawkins brothers, Michael and I think it's Malik.
Malik is the defensive back, right?
Malik is the defensive back. He's the younger brother to the older brother, Michael, who's the quarterback. Played at Oklahoma 2 years. Didn't play too much, but he did play in a bowl game where he started the entire game. I think he made 4 starts, if I recall. And he's definitely a dual-threat quarterback, perfect for what Rich Rodriguez wants to do. The only thing that I have a problem with is that I don't know if he can throw the ball, which is kind of what the problem was last year with all of the dual-threat quarterbacks. I don't know. I mean, there's clips of him throwing the ball downfield, but he does turn the ball over. He also gets sacked quite a bit. I think he got sacked like 15 times when he was at quarterback in the limited time his first year.
Again, that's not a good percentage.
Not a good percentage. Yeah, not a good percentage.
Yeah, so that's not good, especially with the offensive line performance from West Virginia this year. And then Rich added some young defensive players. He added a D lineman from Division II, who's pretty young, and then he recently added Amari Latimer's brother. I think it's Jameer. It's a pretty hard name to say, but he's from Wisconsin. He played at Jacksonville State with Rich. But most of the transfers that Rich has added are younger, which is kind of interesting because it looks like he's just kind of mimicking what he's doing in the high school and what his plans are for the program is to
guys
build
with multiple years of eligibility.
Yeah, because
right?
I mean that's what he hinted that strategy because those guys are a lot cheaper. They're a lot riskier because they're a lot less proven, and it takes a while to develop them. So as long as Rich is pretty much banking on himself to develop those players into star caliber players that can compete at that level instead of going out and just buying star players like Texas Tech, Indiana. Because I mean, you can't really compete financially with Texas Tech, LSU, Ohio State. Even though how many West Virginia fans want to say they have a lot of money, they don't compare to those schools.
I don't have a lot of money.
I got $3.28.
I'm intrigued with the USC guy. I'm gonna probably butcher his last name. Prince Strachan, is that?
Something like that. But he's Prince. I'll just call him Prince.
Prince.
He's
there
a
we go.
beast, man.
Purple Rain, man.
Purple Rain, baby.
What do we got? What do we got on young Prince? What are the potential there?
So I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's a big splash." Got a USC receiver. Yeah, he had one catch last year for 24 yards. So he didn't
I thought he.
No, he had one catch last year.
Well, he might have had some yak yards there, though.
Yak
for 24 yards. So he was. I think they paid. I thought I read somewhere they paid $500,000 for him last year, and he wasn't.
Who USC did, or
yeah,
what?
USC did. He wasn't the best investment. But he did play pretty well at Boise State. The 2 years prior, he played against Penn State in the college football playoff, and he had a couple catches there. I think he's had like 500 yards or something in Boise State, and he's had a couple of touchdowns. He's a bigger guy, 6'5", probably a nice end zone threat for Scotty or Michael Hawkins, whoever's at quarterback. But yeah, I still think that Rich needs some more wide receivers since there's actually just no production coming back. With Christian Hamilton just recently entered the portal, he was on the list. Who knows what Jaden Bray is going to do? Jaden Bray is pretty much the only guy they got left, and he's injury prone. And then
Jaden is going for the medical waiver, right? Is that what they're
trying to do something with that?
Yeah.
But he's already missed the whole season with the injury, so this is his second time, and who knows how good he'll be when he comes back. And then you have Gerard Bowie, who's a slot receiver. So right now there's no receiving production.
Oh, Rodney Gallagher transferred?
Yeah,
right
Rodney
now.
Gallagher's gone. He's gone.
Uniontown kid. They love him in Uniontown.
And a bunch of the other receivers graduated, like Jeff Weimer. He probably won't be able to come back. I mean, he was fighting with the NCAA just to come back last year. So who knows if he'll be back. But yeah, I mean, I think they'll still add more wide receivers. I expect them to add another a running back here pretty soon. A lot of people think Cam Cook from Jacksonville State's going to be the guy.
That's Spencer's guy.
Cam Cook?
No, it wasn't,
Matt, he loves
Cam
Cook.
Wasn't really my guy. I mean, I thought they're going to add some. There's a kid. I forget what his name is, but he's a local kid who was pretty good this year. He was rated highly at the beginning of the transfer portal. He's a lot farther down now. But yeah, I don't think I don't see Cam Cook coming. I know people are like, oh, he came from Jacksonville State. Oh, Rich wasn't there when he was there, and he played at TCU when Rich was there. So he doesn't really have a connection. The only connection he has is with Matt's guy, Rick Trickett. That was it. And the other Tricketts were also there with him. So maybe they add him, maybe they not. It'll be a lot of money to flesh out to that guy.
Okay, so we said earlier the transfer portal window for college football opened on January 2nd. When does it close?
Well, you can commit to a school at pretty much any time. I know Rich was adding players throughout the season who were in the portal and just never picked a school.
But you have to be in the portal by a certain time, right?
No, you could since it's it closes. I don't know when it closes, but yeah, you do have to be in the portal. I think it's the 14th or 15th. I think think they did 2 weeks. It keeps on changing. It was a week, and now it's 2 weeks. I think it's the 14th or the 15th.
It's the same thing for basketball, and that's kind of one of the issues with the windows keep changing because the rules, the coaches complain, well, it needs to be during this time, and then they say, okay, well, we'll change it. And then the following year, they got a problem with that, so we got to change it again. It's the same thing with basketball. So I think essentially for men's and women's college basketball, the window is basically begins on Selection Sunday, and I think it's like 30 days. The window stays open until after Selection Sunday, and players who might still be playing in the NCAA tournament can also be in the portal.
Yeah,
so the windows themselves, they need to kind of figure.
What time these windows are opening? I mean,
right.
I just looked it up. It is 2 weeks. It's the 2nd to the 16th. So you'd have to have your name in that by that time in order to be considered.
But you can sign players, obviously.
You can sign players up until I thought you had to sign them at a certain time. Now you can sign them whenever you want, pretty much. I mean, realistically, I'm pretty sure. I think there's some cutoff where 2 weeks before the first game is one of the cutoffs. But I think Rich was signing kids throughout the season, so I don't know what it is anymore. It's so confusing.
It really is, like Matt said. It's the Wild West.
It's the Wild West.
Well, Matt, we appreciate it. I got to know, did I change your thinking at all on the transfer portal?
You dropped some
today?
knowledge bombs on me. You definitely did. I think I misidentified the definition of transfer portal.
Yes. Spence, we appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, appreciate you, Spence.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on.
That is all the time we have for today. Matt, we want to thank everyone for listening in, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I want to wish you a Happy New Year's because I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Spence, I want to thank Spencer Ripchick for joining us. For next week's podcast, Matt, I got a little teaser for you.
Okay.
Fingers crossed, I'm hoping we can bring in someone to talk a little wrestling.
Let's go.
I know wrestling is right up your alley.
I love me some wrestling.
It might not be the professional wrestling avenue.
Hey, next best.
But we're going to talk a little wrestling next week.
Okay.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll let you know. For now, Matt, take us home, baby.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for joining us today on the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, which is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Select a wedding venue where you can host your perfect ceremony and grand reception in one of our 2 magnificent ballrooms. From the restored historic architecture to the stylish, comfortable guest rooms for your party, Hotel Morgan provides an environment where every guest feels cared for in the heart of downtown Morgantown. Now booking 2026 dates in our brand new 8th floor ballroom. Everyone, a very, very happy new year. This is the Extra Medium Sports Podcast where the couches are safe, but the takes are on fire. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.